Yo, what's up, guys? Check out the ICBTB store. Yo, what's that shirt you wearing, man?
Oh, this little thing?
Yeah.
This is a shirt that Alejandro and Christian are releasing. Guess who made it?
Greg?
Yeah, Greg, dude.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Beautiful. Okay, that's good. It can't be that bad, oh, 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 it can't be that bad. So, is Miles Morales ever going to enter this universe?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
You don't think so?
No, I was saying he has to. Like,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Disney wants all that money. Of course, they're going to put him in it.
Yeah.
So, Childish Gambino, when he appeared in what movie was that? Was it Homecoming?
Yeah, Homecoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Homecoming. Yeah.
So, when he appeared, he said that he's an uncle of some. What does he say?
He just says my nephew, like my nephew
Loves
blah,
you?
blah, blah. Yeah. No, he just mentions his nephew, and then that's all we got.
Okay, and he says his name, and in the comics, we know that Childish Gambino's character is Miles Morales' uncle.
yeah.
But in this universe, Miles Morales could be just like some country bumpkin.
Who knows, man?
But that's how I feel about like last night when Jamie Foxx was like, you know, I know I'm going into the movie, but he's like, oh, I thought you were gonna be a black Spider-Man.
Yeah,
It's like,
man, there should be a black Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and
it's
then the
definitely
crowd
gonna-
goes wild.
Yeah.
Except for that one guy who was booing.
The fucking racist guy. No, I don't know. I'm fucking excited to talk about this movie with you guys. Like, this is a good set of individuals in this room to tackle this monster of a movie. And I know that we usually tackle bad movies, but this is a treat. This is for sure an ICBTG because it can be that good.
I would say even great.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This was one of the I was saying this is one of the best movie theater experiences I've had. Definitely post COVID and potentially ever. Like, it was fun. We were in a theater with people clapping and shouting and everybody was really enjoying themselves, and it was a 10 p.m. showing on Thursday night, so everybody was very, excited and palpable. Theater was about 1,000 degrees though. It was so hot in there. Did you guys notice that? Yeah. That's the hottest movie theater I've ever been in.
I didn't realize it was hot until the movie ended.
Oh, and then like the lights on, like
I think everyone was just like, they ended up gasping for air because they were just speechless throughout the entire movie.
For sure.
But
I breathe heavier when I get nervous.
he was okay. Alan was telling me that he knew that you enjoyed this movie because of your body language throughout the film.
whole time,
he
dude.
said that you were leaned forward, that your hands were like covering your mouth, and that like your eyes were so wide open and on the precipice of tears constantly.
I got really close to tears.
Yeah,
I got
man.
really close to tears.
I was tearing up.
I got emotional, and for me, I usually am never like this, or like I'm just usually contained. But this movie, I was like,
It gets you.
Literally caught myself like my hands around my head and all that shit. I was like,
Yeah.
I am.
And we were talking about how it's nice because now that we're in a state where we could go out and watch movies in person, right? Thank God we didn't have to stream this, right? Like this didn't go straight to streaming. Because the feeling of seeing this with a bunch of people who have also grown up with this franchise since they were kids.
Right.
To see that all in the same theater, to share the reactions and expressions when the twists and turns came.
I could have done without the lady right behind us who kept going, "Who's that?"
Yeah, man.
There was
There was one person directly behind us who the whole time was like, "Who's that? What's happening?
Get her out of here.
Is that? Where is he?
What movie is this?
Yeah, and like
I thought this was a Matrix.
I wanted to just turn around and then she got up like 3 times. I don't know if you noticed.
yeah. I
Dude,
noticed
that was horrible about the movie experience.
No
But I
one
don't blame
should
her.
disrespect
I blame the
a movie
veranda.
like that.
Yeah.
I blame the theater
Man.
because they let miscreants like that in. They should have had a Spider-Man test before you go in.
Oh, like a quiz?
Yeah, name one villain who isn't in any of the movies, and you'd have to be like, "Fuck, I don't know, Kraven."
The Joker?
I
Get her
guess
outta
technically
here.
that's right. No, technically that's right. Technically,
All right, she could come
on a
in.
technicality though.
Christy, did you cry
Oh yeah.
a few times or multiple times?
Good solid 3. I cried out of sadness, cried out of joy.
Yeah.
And I was telling Jules,
You just cry when things are over too, huh?
honestly, I did cry because I was like, I'll mention it later because it's toward the end. But I was telling Jules, like, I felt pure, like, happiness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, literally warm inside.
It's like you had the power of the sun in the palm of your hands.
Literally, dude. Yeah.
You like that? You like
Nice,
that?
man. Nice
We should,
callback. Nice callback.
real quick, we should tell the listeners if you have not seen the movie yet and you're listening to this episode,
It's way too late.
It's too late.
Shut
It's way too late.
off.
You're already fucked.
Because this episode is going to be releasing fairly recently after the release of the movie. So.
I'm honestly a little scared.
Yeah.
I think people are. I mean, I'm no bitch.
Yeah.
But
I'm no bitch.
But the Marvel Mafia, bro.
Yeah. But if I'm gonna put in the title. Spoiler alert.
Put that in front of everything.
Yes.
Or you should sneak it. It should be like Spider-Man. Never mind. I was trying to make an anagram out of it.
Okay, well, let's welcome the listeners because I'm excited to talk about this.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome to another episode of ICBTG. It can be that great. Motherfuckers, because this is great.
Godly.
We have two very special people in the room, and Karen's joining us too as a little audience member.
Son of a bitch.
So, come on,
Why is she not one of the special
Oh,
people?
she's
you
special.
dick?
She's special. I'm talking about the people on the mic. Okay. We have Alan Boo and Christopher Perry here on the episode because we're gonna have a good time talking about this movie, y'all.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel?
I'm excited.
How'd you guys feel the past few days? Because Chris, you just watched it yesterday. The rest of us, we watched it 2 days ago.
Yes.
So I've been letting it simmer in my mind and not been able to talk about it with anyone because not a lot of people have seen it yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we were just in public like yesterday, and we were like, we can't talk about it because we're at the gym, and you know, people could be listening. So like,
Well, that's the thing. I was telling the group of friends that I went with. I was like, I feel like real Spider-Man fans are the ones who are like, hey, let's be mindful, not say shit, and not post anything too crazy to where people are gonna be like, wait, you just revealed some shit. We're all like kind of low key, but when it's just us, we're like, fuck, did you remember that shit or you remember that? It's.
I immediately hopped on Twitter and was just reading all of the things that people were posting and saying. I was like, oh, I get it. I'm part of the cool kids.
Because there's a lot of theories circulating already, and we're gonna get
is.
into those theories because
Should we just start from the beginning? Just talk like how it like just picks up?
absolutely. So let's do the nitty gritty so we can start talking about the movie.
We watched Spider-Man No Way Home. It's rated PG-13 and was released in the year 2021. It has a runtime of 2 hours, 20 minutes, or 148 minutes. It has a rating currently of 9.1 out of 10 on the International Movie Database, a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 72% on Metacritic. That's because critics suck. But would you guys like to guess what percentage of Google users approve of this film?
100%.
99%.
99, 100?
I'm with Alan.
I'm gonna say 98.
Okay, the answer is 98.
Mother.
Okay.
You're
That
so
makes
smart.
sense.
It's the closest. I mean, I was saying there are some points in this film that are very like tongue-in-cheek, fan service, on the nose stuff, but it didn't like. It was good.
It was done right.
Like sometimes there's a lot of fan. Like I think when people see fan service in films or franchise movies like this, they're like, "Oh, that's lame." But it's like, no, that was actually kind of funny that Tobey Maguire's back still hurts. Like I like that shit.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
With Spider-Man's identity now revealed, our friendly neighborhood web-slinger is unmasked and no longer able to separate his normal life as Peter Parker from the high stakes of being a superhero. When Peter asks for help from Doctor Strange, the stakes become even more dangerous, forcing him to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man.
Beautiful. What does it end with a question mark? What the hell is that?
No, I just wanted to...
Okay.
We were talking about this earlier. It had a budget of $200 million. It's only been out for 2 days so far.
Yeah.
I don't know what the current number is at right now, but I was telling you guys, Thursday night previews alone, $200 million.
Jeez.
They made their money back.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Wow.
Third biggest Thursday night like preview behind Force Awakens and Endgame.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Well, this has been hyped up for how long? Like, how long was the theory that all Peter Parkers were going to be in this movie?
When did Spider-Verse movie come out?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
So a few years. And the fact that the studios behind this, like, actually went with it and they were able to, because, like, imagine being in the boardroom with this idea. We're going to get Andrew Garfield in here. We're going to get Tobey Maguire in here. That's a lot of responsibility. That's like a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Well, with great responsibility.
Comes great power.
That's right, Sony.
That's you could easily fuck this up. Like, this is a type of movie where you could spread yourself too thin with as many introductions to old villains and having all of the Peter Parkers come back. Like, that's what were you guys trying to keep your expectations low to avoid disappointment?
Well, I feel like when Far From Home ended, I was like, it was a huge ass cliffhanger. I was like, where are they going to take this?
And wasn't that when they first revealed Jay Jonah?
Yeah.
At the end of that. Yeah.
That's right.
I was like, I'm super curious if they were like already like in mind, like we're going to try to get the 3 Spider-Mans in this next one, or if it was like a later on decision of.
I think it was maybe somewhere in the middle. Like the only reason why I think that is because of all the like behind the scenes drama that Sony was going through. Because the only reason why I kept my hopes so low was because I could see a company like Sony and a company like Disney being like, well, we'll just put like $1 billion in it and it'll be good anyways. And it's like, well, that's true. They'll still make their money back, but they didn't have to put all the Spider-Man in here. They did that. They actually did that one for us. This is maybe the first fan service movie that I saw that I think actually did the fans right, as opposed to like the fucking new Star Wars where Luke's drinking green milk and shit like that.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
And like, some of the jokes were cheesy. Like a lot of the interactions between the villains were all fan service and kind of cheesy, but it was perfect. The fact that they are taking so many digs at Jamie Foxx about how he used about you guys were talking
ugly.
about like everything Amazing Spider-Man they were making fun of because arguably that was the least
lowest
favorite
performing
of the 3 trilogies, right?
Well,
they'd even get a 3rd.
Even in the movie, like when he sees himself, he's like feeling himself. He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, someone tell me how he got such a clean ass fade.
Exactly, man.
When you travel through the multiverse, the first stop you make is at a barbershop.
I guess so.
It's the multi-barber.
He became way cooler. His like the multi barber. Everyone gets a haircut. But I don't know, the way he was speaking, he was just so chill, like way different than Max from Amazing Spider-Man.
I like this power. And it's like Max would have been like, I like the power.
But when he showed up, like, you know how he was like coming together? Was he blue for a quick second?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
So I think maybe the reason why he looks different is because that Max in this universe is Jamie Foxx.
Actually, Jamie Foxx. I like that they paid homage to his original costume.
With I was just gonna say with like the star,
the tri-mask type of thing.
Yeah.
They did really good like on the cuff cut callbacks to like the movies and stuff like that. But then they would do some like really deep Spider-Man callbacks where like Dr. Ock and Aunt May kind of have like that moment where they're talking to each other. And like that's a callback to in the comic books when Doc Ock and Aunt May got married. And like that was like a whole thing that was going on for a minute.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
I did have an inkling, like, are they flirting? Like, what's going to happen between them? Because she just broke up with Happy. And which also, man, they just threw a lot at us because that seeing Happy see Aunt May dying broke my heart. And him even going to her grave at the end of the movie, so sad.
Yeah.
And
I will say, one of the best things that this movie did, or that the Tom Holland's character did, was they didn't force like the Ben Parker on us. So they didn't force him going to the wrestling match. The same things that we've seen so many times. Like I say, like in every Batman movie, we always see Batman's parents die. And it's like, oh, well, like we literally saw this in the last movie. I don't need this in every film. So I think they did a really good job of not rehashing things that we already have and then doing it in their own way where he doesn't have an Uncle Ben who dies. He has an Aunt May who dies, which I think is just a beautiful moment for MCU.
yeah, when they were all talking about like, hey, we get it. We understand that you just lost someone. You know, it was my Uncle Ben that died. Like that whole scene on the rooftop when all these Peter Parkers.
The Spider-Man intervention?
Yes.
Pretty much.
And they're all good criers. All of them.
I still don't like Toby's crying face.
Yeah, I agree.
I've never liked Toby's crying face.
I agree.
That's just his face.
No, it's him like...
Andrew's crying is like so subtle. Like it's very like human like to me. Like
Okay,
Like he's holding it back.
he's holding it back.
He's like looking and it's like dripping out of his eyes. Toby is like, don't do, what is this?
I was fine with it.
I was fine with it.
It's because it was just
it.
memeified, right? And so
Maybe.
That's probably it.
right, if that meme had never come out or it just uses his crying face, I don't think we'd be judging it as hard.
Yeah.
But Andrew
But
Garfield,
he did look great.
oh yeah,
Toby looks so good.
good, solid jawline, like
so handsome.
jaded. So like he's not just this dorky one that we remember from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
There was a theory that I read before the movie came out that I was like, if they add this, it probably would have like consumed too much time. So it's good that they didn't add it. But it was, what if when Tom Holland's Peter saw Toby's, he was like, Uncle Ben? Like he was Uncle Ben in Tom's universe.
Whoa!
So that when I saw, well, you know the scene when all three of them are together. When I saw Tom pop up, I was like, "Is he gonna say some shit?" Like, but he was like, "No, get the fuck away! My aunt just died." So I was like, "Okay, cool."
I was telling Karen on the way in here, I was like, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, they don't really talk about Ben Parker at all. I think maybe the only reference that they do is in Far From Home when he closes his suitcase. It says BP or it says Ben Parker on the lock. But that's like the only reference that they make to Ben Parker in the MCU, which again is great because they are taking it its own way. It's its own story. It's its own universe. But yet it's still Spider-Man.
Even to the extent where like it just took me up until this movie to find out that MJ is Michelle Jones and not Mary Jane.
Right.
I forgot about that.
But didn't they mention Watson?
Yeah.
What was that?
Mary Jones.
It kind of went over my head real fast.
She has two. I think she's MJJ technically.
Yeah, but then someone said Watson, and she's like, I don't go by that or something.
Because her parents are separated, all that stuff. Yeah.
But didn't they? Yeah. And then at the end of the first one's when we find out that her name's MJ.
Yeah.
Because in Homecoming, we like don't know what her name is throughout the entire film, right? Zendaya's name, or what do they call her? They call her something else. Like she has a nickname, like Shadow Boxer or something awesome. And
but I do like that they bring it up. Like I have an MJ, but it's Mary Jane.
He's like, I have an MJ, but mine's Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole moment though of them just kind of like relating, that was so.
All right, let's talk about it because everyone's just on the edge of their seats waiting for us to talk about the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Yes, Batman shows up.
And Nacho Libre finally makes his appearance in the MCU.
I've been telling you for years he's an Avenger.
But it was because we see interviews of Tom Holland saying like, "Oh, one day I'd like to work with."
Okay, Tom. Okay.
Don't gas him up when he's only 3 words in.
One day I'd like to work with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I really appreciate them as actors.
The Maguire sounded like him. I ain't going front. When you
Chris,
said Maguire,
stop. He's gonna keep going. He's gonna keep doing
You're
it.
hyping me up too much about his impressions,
and then
man.
it's gonna be just like a thing he does forever.
Oh shit! All right.
Hey, what's up, mate?
Hey, yeah. But in those interviews, he was trying to play it down like, oh, they're not in the movie.
Well, and then even Andrew Garfield was doing a press tour for the musical he was in, the one about the guy who wrote Rent, Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for him in this because literally the first question and the majority of the questions that he got on that press tour was like, so are you in Spider-Man? Are you in Spider-Man? And I think that's got to suck so much for an actor who works just as hard on a character like, in this musical and he's singing and he's doing all this stuff. And then he gets there and all they want to talk about is Spider-Man. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why Ben Affleck quit Batman. Yeah. Was because he was doing the press tour for that gangster film that he wrote and nobody wanted to talk to him about the film that he wrote.
Are you coming back as Bruce Wayne?
Batman. That's all they wanted to know. And he was like, you know what? Fuck this, dude. He's like, nobody's even looking at the art that I just spent 4 years making.
Because I do believe that, I don't know, I want to see your guys' take on it. Of the three, I think Andrew Garfield is the strongest actor, in my opinion.
For sure.
His versatility. Because Tom Holland right now, I mean, maybe it's because Tom Holland's a fresher face that we know him as Spider-Man, but obviously he's a very talented actor in his own way. He could dance like crazy and he's doing other movies but it is weird to see him in Uncharted now.
Because it's Spider-Man in Uncharted.
That's what it's.
Or like when he did that one in the South with Robert Pattinson, where it's like about racism. It's like, oh yeah, that's just Spider-Man in that other movie.
But that was still like he was able to separate himself a little bit more in that movie.
I need to see a little bit more of Tom Holland's acting. Andrew Garfield, you're right, does movies like Hacksaw Ridge, or he'll do a musical like Tick Tick Boom, and then he'll do Spider-Man. These are three very, very different characters. Tobey Maguire does very different characters. Like, did you ever see him in Brothers? With Jake Gyllenhaal. That's Tobey Maguire's best acting, period.
Yeah.
It is just like he is just phenomenal.
Okay, so who do you guys think of the three? Because Andrew Garfield, maybe he's just much more relevant in my mind as of right now.
I think he's done more different, like Tobey doesn't do that many different things.
Right.
Yeah. Tobey's not out here doing,
he's chilling now.
Yeah. He's sitting on a bag of cash and probably like another big bag of cash. I heard originally when the first rumor started coming out that Tobey was going to be in it, that one of his big things was like, well, I wanted to be in more of the movie, and so like they had to write more, and it kind of seems like he did get more lines than Andrew to me, and I wonder if that was because he lobbied for more screen time.
Who knows, man?
But he deserves it. I want to see more Tobey.
Yeah, for sure.
Arguably, so when they finally come in, the first, I think they did in the right order. Show us Andrew Garfield first.
Oh, yeah.
And he got great applause, great cheer, because he's a great Peter Parker.
I have to mention,
he's the best Peter Parker.
I have to mention that the fact that probably one of the most cinematic, thing in the all three Spider-Mans happening is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It happened in a Filipino household.
I know.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
I don't understand what you mean. What's the big deal about that?
When's the last
Filipino
time, when's the last time-
representation, dude.
He said, "Sorry, Lola." Andrew
Yes.
Garfield said, "Sorry, Lola." I was like, "What?"
Dude, like, look at it. You're right. How many times in the next year is Peter Parker's meeting is gonna? How many times is that gonna get searched on YouTube in Google? And now forever in that you'll hear Tagalog. We're gonna get a bunch of representation. But I do have some gripes about the Tagalog. I will critique it.
Was
Okay.
it not? Was it not?
It's not like sharp enough and not fast enough.
Like
it was
she
so,
was,
it was slow.
it wasn't aggressive.
Yeah,
She
it
was
was
just
not
like,
aggressive.
sino ba yung kaibigan mo?
Yeah, especially if they're upset.
Dumi
It's
doon,
supposed to be fast.
Yeah, it's supposed to sound like a cheetah, like like a machine gun.
Try and
type
say
of
it the
thing.
correct way right now.
Right? I don't know word for word what she said. She said like,
And the cadence is different. It's like
Kita.
it's like it's usually like it's like
but hers was very smooth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smooth.
She was like, sino ba yung kaibigan mo? Dumi doon.
That's because she
I
speaks English naturally, like normally, but she didn't want the other people to know, so she's like talking to Ned and Tagnalagan. What is it?
Talgalagan. That's exactly what it is. But that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
audience cheering for all of them.
Oh, and then the whole thing of like, well, like, show us, prove to us
Yeah.
that you're Spider-Man, and he's like, what?
Throws a piece of bread at it. I was like,
the part where like they're yelling for Peter, where you like someone was saying, how would you feel if it just closed? Like that's all we got.
That's what I thought. Like, I for a long time thought that was far more of a realistic thing. Because I remember, I think even like last week we were talking about this. I was like, honestly, I think what the big surprise is going to be Miles Morales. That seems like that's good with the times. That seems like something that Disney would do. It's not something that we're expecting. But they can't not reference these other two with all the stuff that's going on. So I was afraid for just a second because Andrew
been
Garfield
pissed.
kind of like lingers for just a second, and I was like, they're gonna close it or something.
It's gonna close.
You know, Ned's magic isn't as consistent as I would have liked it to be, but that's fine.
But he came through.
Oh yeah.
Literally came through.
Took that mask off.
we were just like,
I looked at
our
Jules.
theater.
I was- yeah.
Yo,
Erupted.
insane.
Same problem I had when we watched Amazing Spider-Man, though. His hair's always out to here, and his mask like holds everything down.
it's a tight mask, man.
Tight mask,
It's a
dude.
tight
It's
mask.
got to be uncomfortable, and also his eyes are always out here.
And I love that. And then when Toby comes through, not even in a Spider-Man
Oh,
Nah, man.
suit, he just comes thurrough and like he's aged well,
Do you
and
think-
the audience is going wild.
Do you think that was a stunt? Like he was like, I don't need to wear my suit for you to recognize me. He was like, I'm in normal clothes.
It's possible to just show that he wasn't doing Spider-Man
Yeah, I
things.
was gonna say
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think he's Spider-Man anymore because doesn't he even say that anymore? He's like, oh yeah, I don't really do.
I don't know.
Like
No,
he's with like MJ now.
Yeah,
and,
he's like, I married
kind of
MJ,
moved
and
on.
You're
and-
right.
But he had under his
Yeah,
shirt. He
the-
was like,
Which
yeah.
was funny because in the Sam Raimi they do the Superman thing where he like opens it up and it's
In
the
the
Superman
first one,
thing. Yeah,
right before he's about to fight Green Goblin.
yeah. So and that was good when he's like, I'm always ready. And it's
I like it. It's because Andrew Garfield was like, so are you going to fight looking like a really cool youth pastor? Or...
Oh yeah.
And he's like, no, I got it underneath, bro. Okay, I want to talk about the web shooters. What is the science behind two of the Spider-Men having the web shooters, but Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, he has it biologically.
I think Tobey Maguire says it exactly like Sam Raimi did in interviews. They didn't find it realistic that he would be able to build that in the Tobey Maguire universe.
Yeah.
So what they figured would make it more was that's why like you see the spider legs coming out of his fingers too in the Sam Raimi's because they're trying to make everything make sense because in 2001 you know everything had to be real and gritty and like be as if it was a true thing.
Yeah.
Then we get to the Andrew Garfield and the Tom Hollands where we're like, oh no, this is a comic book movie and there's a guy who's 80 feet tall and a guy flying around in a tin suit.
That exists.
He can be smart enough to make web
You're
shooters.
right.
I'm ignorant to the comics. Is there a comic book where it is organic?
No, I honestly think Tobey Maguire is the only organic one.
Okay.
Although like Venom used to shoot him out of his wrist.
Yeah,
Right.
that's wild.
Yeah.
Even in the Venom movies, which, by the way, we watched all of Venom 2 just for the fucking post-credit scene. Not worth it.
Jeez.
I still think it's cool, but not like the
Not
entire
compared to
movie.
any of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the post-credit scene, like,
Say it.
just like the post-credit scene in this movie. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like they just kind of like, and I'm just like that was I think a misstep.
Oh, the very
They should have just left Tom Hardy out to like come back later in it or whatever, like have a bigger part to it. But to give everybody such a big part in coming back, but then for Tom Hardy, like,
No, I think this is where that post-credit scene was vital. It's because it's so open-ended. He left the symbiote. So now we're thinking, who's going to be the Eddie Brock in Tom Holland's universe?
Ooh.
Should be Flash.
It's gonna be Flash.
Yeah, Flash.
So okay,
And he'll be Agent Venom.
Well,
Agent Venom,
that makes sense because he is such a huge Spider-Man fan to where it's almost obsessive. So
yeah,
It's weird.
because he's not a true friend to Peter Parker. He's really just capitalizing on his
according
fame.
to that book.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
How come you guys got into or didn't get into MIT? And like, because we're actually Peter Parker's friends.
And then Ned, I didn't realize until I was talking to Alan and John.
Wearing a wig.
Ned, obviously, and lost a lot of weight. That's why he's wearing 2 jackets. Yeah, to kind of give off the facade that he's fat. But I didn't realize that he's Hobgoblin in some of the comics.
Yeah.
So that's why they're saying like, hey,
do you have a best friend? Do you have a Ned in your universe?
I love that part.
That's what I was thinking about.
So
like,
funny.
you know, at the end when they're like in the cafe and Tom went to go see them, like after they lost like their memories about Peter. I was like, man, like, what if they need Peter in their life, man? Like,
Here's where I could see it going. Peter's gonna win MJ back, and that's gonna break Ned's heart. And then in revenge, Ned's gonna become Hobgoblin.
I don't know.
It's always like a girl.
There was
thing.
a split second where I was like,
They're gonna kiss.
what if Ned and MJ are together?
That was the first. We walked out of that was the first thing I said. I was like, before we see like anybody around us, can I ask you guys a question? Is Ned and MJ fucking?
I don't think so. I think it was very platonic, that interaction. And for a split second, I was thinking, now that Peter's out of the question, maybe they're building some very friendly chemistry. But also, no.
I don't know. I mean, they clearly like that's a very. They made that scene look like that for a reason.
So you think that might turn him into a villain if Peter comes back into MJ's life? Because that whole interaction with MJ and Peter when she didn't know who she was.
If I was Ned, I'd be like, why are you talking to my girl like
Yeah,
that?
the fact that like, yo, MJ, what are you doing?
No,
This
when
guy.
you're confident, you'd be like, she can talk to him. She'll be right back with my coffee.
Come on.
You're the most confident man in this entire room. I think you'd be okay with that. Yeah, it wouldn't be too, especially short little Tom Holland.
Me and Tom are the same height, probably.
I think he's actually really short and shorter than Zendaya.
I mean, Zendaya's like what?
5'10".
She's tall.
She's 6'6",
Yeah,
I
she's
think.
tall.
She's wingspan of 7'8". She's the leading women's dunker in the WNBA.
I'm. So they don't know Peter Parker, but is Spider-Man?
Okay, that's the part I don't completely understand, because when they finally do the spell and he's walking down the street, there's still like posters and leaflets and stuff that says Peter Parker is
J.
Spider-Man.
Jonah Jameson is saying like, Spider-Man, if you're out there, reveal your identity. Yeah.
Happy talked about, he was like, Spider-Man.
Yeah, so
the grave, right?
So they know who Spider-Man is, but they don't know who Peter Parker is.
Gotcha.
Because I thought that the spell was so that they would just forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, not necessarily forget Peter Parker.
I think that was the original spell, right? And then when they did have to redo it again, that's when he's like, just make everybody forget me. That's the only way that this is going to work.
That's why it's No Way Home, because he lost everybody, man.
Again, I still wish they would have said that. I just wish look right into the camera and Tom Holland's just like, there's no, and then Tobey Maguire's like, wait, and Andrew Garfield's like, home. Then they high five real quick and they go,
Dude, they did do that though. They did the point.
The meme, they
I thought I
brought
was
it in
Spider-Man
there.
2. No, you're Spider-Man 2. I'm Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, okay, so Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, and then Andrew Garfield was like, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
All right, obviously, Spider-Man 3.
Andrew was like the middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He just wanted some love.
My favorite part of the 3 Spider-Men together, and I was telling Kevin this in the car, is when they're running and they all jump off and they all do like their signature swing, and then they all do their signature land.
Their signature land, like, and it's all different. They all have their different suits.
Yes.
Because Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit has
chunky.
the thick lining, right? And then Andrew Garfield's has like, it's very thin.
It's like silk. Like it's a little
spandex.
shiny.
He has like the big eyes, right?
Yeah.
Got it over here.
And then he has the Star. Tom Holland has the Stark Tech suit, right?
Yeah.
Which looks great inside out.
Fan.
It looks
He should
bad.
wear it inside out more often.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's the black side. I'm always down with black Spider-Man.
Well, okay, wait. Let's bring it back to the symbiote then. Is the symbiote going to get to Flash and we're going to see an Agent Venom, or are we going to get a black suited Spider-Man first?
I feel like it's gonna go Spider-Man first.
Yeah, Venom has to. Yeah, I feel like
That'd
the
be
Venom
sick.
symbiote has to find Spider-Man before he finds his second host, because that's what drives Venom to. Like, that's the one reason why I don't really understand the Venom films, because isn't Venom's whole thing is like he met Spider-Man and is just trying to get back into Spider-Man's body so he can have all that power?
I couldn't remember.
Or am I talking out my ass?
I don't know
remember
that thing too well, but like
I just remember in the cartoons when Peter like is in the clock tower or in the church, and then it's like dripping on Eddie Brock, and then they that's what I always remember.
okay, because like it seemed like Venom knew who Peter Parker was when they got right. Like there was some kind of
when he licks the TV
he's like,
screen.
that's the one.
That's the one.
Spider-Man. I don't know.
No, that one. Yeah. See, Chris, look what
Asian
you've
Venom.
done.
He's killing it, man.
Shut the fuck up, Chris.
Eddie, I'm hungry. Do we get to eat chocolate?
Eddie, yo,
It's like
yo
more
tengo hambre.
Antonio Banderas kind of.
It's a sexy Venom, man. That's what I'm going for.
An Antonio Banderas Venom movie would be great.
No.
man.
There would be a lot of conflict. It sounds great as an idea when we're talking
Somewhere in the
about it right now.
multiverse. Somewhere in the multiverse.
Yeah, a Latino Venom does exist for sure. What if it infects? What if that symbiote infects the bartender?
Mexican guy. Oh,
Hey, wait. Shout out to that guy. He's in Ted Lasso. I highly recommend that show if you guys haven't watched it.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah,
I
it's
need to
really
watch
funny.
it.
Anyways,
Dude, there are just so many theories. Because let's talk about when the rift was opening toward the end of the movie. We see a bunch of different Spider-Man villains.
yes.
Right?
I saw two versions. Okay, I think everybody sees kind of something a little bit different because it's very like
It's all subjective at this point.
enigmatic. I saw like the Rhino from Garfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then I saw like a Rhino from like the cartoon where he
Yes.
has like the horn and like the
Two different rhinos that we're seeing?
Am I
There
correct
was
so
multiple.
far?
There was multiple.
And then there was
Craven.
like, yeah, there was
with
a
the
Craven
spear.
there, and then there was
Yeah.
like an actual Scorpion was
Scorpion.
there.
Crazy.
Shoot.
So here's my question, guys, and you may not be able to answer this, so I'm posing it to you too. When that happens, the riff, is that the moment that He Who Remains realizes that the timeline has split? Like in the same time as Loki, when that's all happening, he's like, something's changed. Is it that what's changed? Is that Doctor Strange has ripped open the multiverse? Because my thinking is when you see the timeline breaking off, it breaks off and everything's starting to turn like purple on the inside. And when he makes the rift through the spell, all the creatures are coming through like a purple space thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's got to be the moment that He Who Remains like feels the change in the multiverse.
Right.
It's possible, right?
Because they're all supposed to be connected, right? That's why.
It's kind of hard. That's why I wanted to get like a correct timeline because I'm
Right.
still trying to figure out like where the movies kind of line up and like the shows.
I think there's a lot of overlapping right now. I think a lot of the shows that came out on Disney Plus and the movies that are coming out right now, there's a lot of overlapping. And then just to really fuck with us, they're like, also, we're going to make a direct callback to that Netflix show that we said doesn't exist in this universe.
Wait.
Yeah, man.
Matt Murdock coming through super early was the wild. And I never even watched Daredevil, but I
Same.
love
you
that
gotta
actor.
watch it. You gotta watch
It's
it.
And I
great.
hear it's
It's great.
fantastic.
Because John Bernthal's Punisher is maybe the most comic book accurate superhero I've ever seen in my life.
And I want him to, I want
never be in the MCU.
Defenders to come into the MCU.
The Defenders show sucked though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like John Bernthal in there would be fucking dope.
He's not in the Defenders.
Oh, well, but he's in that universe.
Yeah,
that
but
they
he's
said,
not in
right?
the Defenders.
And I want the X. I thought the X-Men were gonna make some sort of like a
Not
canon.
yet.
They're gonna save that for the next.
Or at least like a
Strange,
clue,
but
right?
Yeah.
I think what was the clue?
No, I'm just saying
Oh,
at least.
I feel like they're not gonna. I think they're gonna drop a clue of the X-Men at the end of Fantastic Four. Is what I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think they're gonna do like a Franklin Reed, where he is like, he ends up being Kang.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow. I'm just waiting for like that YouTube video to
Spoilers,
drop
sorry.
that says 200 Easter eggs you missed.
yeah. Did you see that book in
No
the
way,
background? He's reading the Communist Manifesto. Spider-Man, socialist.
What? That's not what I was thinking.
Okay, my favorite bit with Matt Murdock in there is when he's talking to Happy, and Happy's like, well, I need to get a lawyer. And he's like, yeah, you need to get a really good lawyer for you. Because he's talking about the Ben Affleck Daredevil, because Happy was his Froggy.
Oh shit.
Are you for real?
Damn.
Yes.
Yo, that's
John
deep.
Favreau was Ben Affleck's Froggy Nelson.
What?
And so when he's talking to him, when his whole thing, he's like, well, can't you be my lawyer? And Matt Murdock's whole thing's like, no, you need to get your own. You have your own lawyer. that part kicked me. I was just
didn't think
punched
about
myself in the dick.
Great writing. That's when you know it's great. Is that it's subtle enough.
Yeah.
Where someone that doesn't get the reference,
It's like, cool, yeah.
doesn't think about it.
Yeah.
But it's also subtle enough that someone that gets the reference gets it.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's solid, dude. And you were saying that there's a lot of digs at DC that
I
they
think
make
so.
too.
Yeah, Marvel MCU right now is like pretty blatantly disrespecting DC right now, but it's because Warner Brothers fucked everything up, and so yeah, I'm right there with it, dude. Fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Warner Brothers. Although now they're owned by Discovery, which actually could be pretty good. They're actually thinking about maybe bringing back Zack Snyder.
We'll see. I mean, do you think Sony is gonna, if they get full grabs on Tom Holland's franchise of Spider-Man, are they gonna fuck it up?
I don't think Sony will ever get the full rights back of Spider-Man. I doubt Disney will ever give up their stake.
What are you guys' thoughts?
I think they would fuck it up.
Yeah,
honestly.
If it was them by themselves and
Yeah.
Disney had no involvement,
Yeah, because their Spider-Man movies did suck.
Dude, like, look at this direction that we're going in. The fact that this universe is so big that it takes so much tedious time to make sure that whatever you're making doesn't fuck up the continuity of what they're setting up with the multiverse. Like, they have to check in with Daredevil to be able to put Matt Murdock in so it makes sense. They have to check in with, like, whatever happened in Loki. I haven't seen it. Or WandaVision.
yeah, it's
I haven't seen it.
crazy.
But you know what though? Sometimes when it does line up, like if they make like a reference to the older movies, they just retcon it. Like in Shang-Chi, when they find the old Mandarin, he's like, "Oh yeah, like they arrested me at the end." It's like, I thought you died at the end of that movie. Like I was pretty sure you blew up or something.
So that's them just fixing it and, like,
They just like don't even think about it. Or like with the Eternals, they're like, if you guys can stop anything, how come you didn't stop Thanos? And they're like, we just didn't want to. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess you just didn't want to. Then. It's like, okay, I guess one line solves the problem.
Oh, man. Okay, favorite parts.
Oh, my favorite part, I already know.
Yeah, I got mine.
Willem Dafoe, man. It has to be. Hey, that fight scene at the condo when he comes back, right? And I was talking to you guys about it because like Tom's heartbeat starts racing and he's trying to look around like who's fucking
That shit
Green
was
Goblin comes
so
up.
sick.
But that whole fight scene, dude.
I always thought-
fight scene.
I always thought that Norman was faking it. Like when he was like, "Oh, like help me, please!" Like I was always like,
Yeah,
"That's that's Gobby, dude. That's Goblin faking it."
And that's meant for us to, like, do you think it was really him faking it up until that moment?
No, because they say he's a schizo.
Yeah, I think it was
yeah.
Norman.
It was Norman.
But I thought the Goblin was gonna be like, "Oh no!" Like everyone take these serums, and then he actually makes them even more evil. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen.
What I loved about Norman is how they took the helmet away, but you were still
Yes,
able
yes.
to see like two completely different people.
Dude,
That's Willem Dafoe being
Willem
a
Dafoe's
fantastic
acting
actor.
is so good.
Yeah,
man.
he killed it.
Like his voice, the fact his voice has this like gravel to it.
Yeah,
And did I read he did his stunts? He did the fight scene
Yeah, it's a trivia.
for the most
Really?
part.
Give me a
Yeah.
second. Yeah.
I don't think he did all of it because there are some pretty clear line stunt doubles in some of it.
Yeah, so it says Willem Dafoe would only agree to reprise his role as the Green Goblin on the condition that he still be allowed to perform the majority of his own stunts like he did in 2002.
oh, that's
Wow,
badass.
Well, in 2002, he was a lot younger. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Dude, for this franchise to continue that long,
Well, and then Alfred Molina comes back too. They de-aged him, so he looks like
He looks
exactly.
No, he still looks great right now.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, I don't even really think they
Yeah.
needed to de-age him.
No.
But Disney's got that de-aging shit down on lock. Like when they make like young.
Spoiler. I don't know what you're gonna say.
No,
but
like
yeah,
with
yeah.
in Black Widow when
Okay.
Thunderbolt Ross shows up, and they use like
Oh,
they
yeah.
de-age him, or like Nick Fury when they de-age him. Like
They have to
Disney's
de-age.
got it pretty good.
When they
Net-
did Michael Douglas too,
Really good.
That one was good.
arguably maybe the worst one, but still really good in like comparison to all of them.
Right.
Fucking De Niro in Irishman sucked dick,
That was the
dude.
worst
That
one.
was the
Yeah.
worst de-aging I've ever seen in my life.
I think Gemini Man did a better job than
That was at least
De
cool.
Niro.
Yeah,
It's pretty solid. Literally, we have the poster right here. Man, 20 years. Willem Dafoe, I'm upset that it's been this long and we haven't even mentioned him yet, but he is such an incredible actor that you can be a different character just from his facial expressions, from his voice.
Right.
He is so scary. The scene, I want to talk about that scene when Tom Holland is having like almost a heart attack with his spidey senses.
Yeah.
Everything's so slow. They're like, hey, Peter, what's going on? Peter, what's going on? And I was
Peter
like,
tingle.
what's going to happen? Because it was too good to be true. Having all these villains here being friendly, they're not fucking shit up yet. And they're like, okay, yeah, I guess you could fix us and we'll be sent back home, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I did think it was really weird. It's like, did Spider-Man just make a Scooby gang of all bad guys? Mm-hmm. Is Spider-Man the sixth person in the Sinister Six? I think they made Spider-Man the sixth person.
Because up until then, everything was just too easy, right? Because like the way he...
But it wasn't so easy that it made the movie cheesy. It wasn't so easy that it became like, oh yeah, of course him and Dr. Octopus are friends. Like it still made a lot of sense and set up. I mean, set up everything. Like it makes sense why you have to have the other two Spider-Men in it because
Yeah.
It was like a hardcore comedy up until like
the whole time.
until Green Goblin fucks shit up. Like, really, it's
It was just a comedy with Green Goblin.
because all the villains were just locked up in Doctor Strange's basement, and their dialogue is so funny, man.
Is this a evil tree? Yeah. No, man, that's just a regular tree.
Do you guys think that this Green Goblin is like the most chaotic like villain that Tom Holland Spider-Man has faced?
For sure, 'cause
right?
who's
It's like
the-
the most like
The only other villain we
villainous
don't see
person.
is Vulture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and we don't
still
see
locked up.
Andrew Garfield's Goblin, so thank God, dude.
God.
But it's of course he's the most chaotic one. He's the one that killed Aunt May.
Yeah, he was.
Insane,
He
dude.
brought out a different Peter. Like he
Exactly.
brought out the dark side and just like
I
He's
want
the
to kill
Joker.
him.
Yeah.
He's the Joker. Like how the Joker just wants Batman to break his one rule.
yeah.
Yes.
Gobby's like, I'm just gonna break Spider-Man. Fuck it.
He almost did, and the way that at the end,
He did break Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like Two-Face too. Like if you think about it, like Peter was gonna become.
Yeah. He was ready to kill.
It is just.
kill him.
It's kind of similar to Dark Knight if you think about
Yeah.
it.
a lot of similarities. The fact that he was able to about to kill him with the hoverboard as
Glider.
like a callback at the glider,
Right.
as a callback to how he dies
Yeah.
in Spider-Man.
And Toby saves him. Because I always feel like in those movies, one
Yeah.
of Toby's biggest regrets is how he knew the glider was coming and he didn't stop it from killing Norman
Oh, this
Osborn.
is
There was
so good!
so much redemption.
So like little. Oh my god!
let's talk about
Don't you say that red word without us going into it.
I know. You know what I'm talking. That's my favorite part.
Wait!
That's my favorite part. The
And May's
redemption.
so hot.
Amazing Spider-Man 2. When Gwen Stacy falls in the clock tower. I watched that scene again. One of the best scenes in
Ever.
fucking cinema
In
history.
comic book movie history.
You see her fall in slow motion. You see Andrew Garfield sling his web, and the
Yes.
web is like almost a hand. I think we talked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Going down. And I had to show Melissa
Going
this
down.
scene. I had to show Melissa this scene for context so she could understand what we just watched in the theaters. And you hear her head smack. Gwen Stacy dies. Andrew Garfield's incredible crying skills come into play.
No, and not only that, but he's like, just breathe, just breathe.
It's okay,
just breathe.
Gwen. Don't leave me right now. Gwen. So emotional.
Yeah.
And the fact that we see MJ, Michelle Jones, fall in this movie, and Tom Holland gets smacked and can't save her, and then Andrew Garfield, motherfucker,
Bruh.
comes from the cuts.
Just thinking about that scene gets me.
It gets me.
Yeah.
I'm emotional right now.
Yeah.
That was the closest I was to crying the
Yes.
whole movie.
Well, when MJ asked, "Are you okay?" That's where I was like, and he was like,
You see his eyes like
Yes.
watering.
Yes,
He's like, I did it.
And without having to
Yeah.
say much, everyone in the theater knew.
"Yeah."
Yeah.
Everyone in the theater knew why that save meant so much.
Yeah.
Because you would think he was like replaying that. Like, how
Every
would I
day.
save Gwen?
Every time he
Right,
closes his eyes, he
yeah.
sees it. You know, it's
Every
like,
day.
He was ready for that. Like 100%.
Every day, man.
Yeah.
My all-time absolute favorite scene in this whole movie is when Tobey Maguire's complaining about his back, and Andrew Garfield's like, "You want me to crack your back for you?" He's like, "Yeah, definitely." And they do this thing.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like,
That's such a real thing too.
oh,
Like,
for sure,
It's
for
so
sure.
cool.
And it's just such a great like little interaction. I also love that there was like multiple scenes of just like Toby and Andrew Garfield without Tom Holland, or those are scenes with like Toby and Andrew Garfield and like Ned, just no Tom Holland. It's just like, yeah, I like that they can have interactions with main characters without Spider-Man constantly having to be like in every
Yeah,
single
yeah.
frame of this film.
Do you think scenes like that are like improv? Like, hey, let's do something where like,
It's possible.
because it seems so like. It
It's-
doesn't seem like something you write,
It doesn't seem like something you write, but it does seem very on brand for Spider-Man.
right?
Like that seems like what a Spider-Man character would say. So
Peter Parker always has pretty
Quips.
good quips. In small talk, that's what he's known for in the comics and in the video games, everything.
Except Toby didn't have a lot of small talk.
No, but Andrew Garfield,
Perfect.
fucking
Mwah.
fantastic. That's why he's like the best Peter Parker, because he's so quick and he's.
But technically, wouldn't that be Spider-Man when he's making quips?
I'm not.
He's a little
sure.
too cool to be a Peter Parker.
He's pretty fucking
He's
cool
a little-
though. I
he's
like
the
him, dude.
skateboard and shit
I
like that.
him. Oh man, when he flirts with Gwen Stacy in those movies,
too smooth.
the best flirting I've ever seen.
You can't do that laugh. It's too
Yeah,
cute.
it's too cute. Hey,
Tom Holland, yeah, is good.
Tom Holland's
It's great.
chest, big.
Oh my god,
bro,
he got cut for this film. Wow,
He was like bulkier.
that
Yeah,
guy is
yeah.
on steroids, man.
He's looking like a Dorito. He's
Yeah.
that chest. It's like you don't see that in the suit because they all look petite in the suits.
No.
Yeah.
But every single Spider-Man movie, I feel. Have we ever seen Toby shirtless
In the first one.
In the first one.
Was he pretty
Yeah,
ripped?
When he first gets bit, he's like,
Yeah.
He was like sick and then he wakes up and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like checking himself out.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I always kind of get grossed out on that scene because the spider bite is like this big on his hand, and he's just like.
You need to make that a gift.
One more time.
No, you have it on film already.
Should replay that part 3 times. I'm just kidding.
Dude,
Did you guys have a moment where you're like,
This sucks.
I mean, you could have, but
There's only one thing that I did not like about this film,
What?
and it's not even that bad. I did not like Tom Holland's new Spider-Man suit at the end because they made it like. They
Glossy.
made it glossy. It
was a Party City version
An
of-
exact ripoff of like the cartoon. I was like, I like that his was different. I like that he had the black bars, and I just really like the Stark suit.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I was fine with it, man.
I liked it because I think it's because he doesn't have that connection with anybody no more. Like he's clean.
He
Like
is
he
the
doesn't have
Spider-Man.
the, he
It
doesn't have
kinda-
the Stark stuff anymore.
Yeah,
so.
it kind of gave me the '90s like cartoon
Yeah.
as well. That's why I feel like I liked it, and I think it just the setup felt like we could go. I was talking to Alan about it, like that '90s route of like he's the photographer now. This is the Peter Parker that we need to see.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like a crappy New York apartment.
Right.
Yes.
Because he was just living with Aunt May the entire time. But now this
Right.
is going to be that comic book cartoon.
The Peter Parker living on his own. I do think maybe you know why I didn't like it was because the shot of like the extra fabric on the sewing machine was exactly like the opening of Nacho Libre when he's making his cape. It was the almost exact same shot.
Yo.
And I just could not get that out of my
Similar
head.
color scheme too.
Yes, just could not get that out of my head where I was like, this looks a lot like Nacho Libre. Like, I just could not stop thinking that.
Oh, man. Imagine if he was just pulling drapes off of random things.
That's like a very Spider-Man thing to do also.
And he was just sewing, and it was the
Escalito.
song from there.
Escalito.
That would have been fucking perfect. Still waiting for the post-credit scene where they show Jack Black.
Do we want to talk about the post-credit scenes?
I mean, that was cool. I mean, I was excited for Tom Hardy.
Which more? I want more.
I want more.
I'm telling you, man, Garfield versus Tom Hardy.
So that's the other theory, is that people are saying that he might be Andrew Garfield's Venom.
I hope so.
Because you were saying,
Because you remember, like Venom was talking to the bartender,
Yeah.
and he's just like, "Wait, you're telling me there's a bunch of superheroes here?" So obviously,
guy.
like there has to be like,
Yeah, he's like, so there's a guy who came down, got the stones, and like,
yeah. He's
and then earlier when all the Peters were talking, they were saying like, who's the craziest villain you guys fought? I fought an alien.
yeah.
First Garfield goes and he's like, I fought a Russian guy in like a rhino mechanized suit, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh. So he's like, I fought a sludge alien. And then Tom Holland's like, I fought an alien on Earth and in space.
They're like, whoa, you did that?
Trevor's
And
like, I'm lame.
And then Garfield was like, I want to fight an alien. So Garfield saying, I want to fight an alien, since an alien does not exist in his universe yet, kind of leaves an opening for Tom Hardy to enter.
That would be cool.
Here's the only thing that because you brought that up, I think, when we were texting this earlier
Yes,
today.
yeah.
The Morbius trailer shows a picture or shows a shot of the Oscorp building, and it's the Oscorp building from the Garfield movies.
Yes.
But in the first Morbius trailer, we see a poster of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Oh. So what if, because they moved all this stuff around, they didn't put, just like we brought villains into this universe, we probably put villains into other universes. That's why the Vulture's in Morbius, because he got sent there on accident, and Morbius is in like some sort of mix. Like
And Tom Hardy might have been sent to
Yep.
any of the other Spider-Man's universes.
Or just like this actual universe that we're in, talking to some guy about the movies. You know what I mean? Like, I did also love the fact where like, you have magic in this universe? Like,
yeah. Everyone's talking shit about magic. They're like, that's for... Oh, when Doc Ock is talking about magic, he's just like, that's for birthday parties. And then he sees Doctor Strange do something, and Otto was like, how'd you do that? He was just like, did a lot of parties. Did a lot of birthdays.
Yo, that one part when Tom Holland took that box. And then like he's in that astral like
and
space, and like his spidey sense is
yeah.
still
Yes,
like,
they have the
working. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That was badass.
Can anybody
so
explain to me how he was still able to move his body on the regular plane though? Was that just like his spider sense? I don't know what it is. I chalked it up to like his spidey sense is so good that his body can move without his soul even being in it.
was
I think
So
that's what it
funny.
was.
They don't
yeah.
really explain it. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, just his senses are just that sharp that it could work without his soul in his body, which is pretty insane.
I love
to
it.
me.
So the spider is its own soul.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe, dude. The lizard did not get any love.
No, they like openly roasted the lizard. Oh, I thought that was a dinosaur. Oh, he can talk. Like they openly roast the lizard.
And they make fun of the fact that all of Spider-Man's villains are just doctors that fucked up.
And don't they make a thing about like animals? Like, don't they talk about how like everybody's like, yeah, I tried to turn the whole world into lizards, and he's like, I tried to turn the whole world into
Into this and that. I'm not sure.
sand.
Oh, no, that doesn't happen at all.
Sandman didn't film not one real frame, right? That was all reused footage. I think we talked about this before we recorded. None of that looked like new footage.
I don't think they used a lot of the money on Sandman or
Lizard. They like put no money into that.
They saved it for Electro. So
yeah.
They want to give him like another shot at being cool. And then,
Just paying Tobey Maguire to get off his fat ass and get in a movie theater.
hey, he's looking good.
I feel like his head was always edited onto another body.
Toby?
Yeah.
That's just how that's just how he looks?
I just think like, even when he was wearing street clothes, I was like, I don't think he's actually wearing those clothes.
What do you guys think of like of all the villains? Favorite ones?
Green Goblin,
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock,
Ock,
and
yeah.
and then
Jamie
Electro.
Foxx. Yeah, Electro. Yeah.
The Lizard and Sandman I could have done without.
They did it right. They gave the right amount of villains the right amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was saying this before we were recording. If they added one more villain in another storyline, would have been spread too thin. It would have been messy. What were we talking about?
Spider-Man 3.
It was a movie where Spider-Man 3, where they added too many villains, which was like, 3 villains. They had Harry Osborn as Goblin. They had
Sandman.
and Venom.
Yeah.
That's only 3. They're able to give us 5 villains, 3 Peter Parkers, and make it all worth it.
Do you think it was because we already had like the backstories
Yeah,
of everything? I think
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas Spider-Man 3 was just like introduction of everybody.
Yeah, you had the origins
Yeah.
of like Sandman and Spider-Man 3.
And this movie has the benefit of 20 plus years of unknown IP that they can draw on. And, Spider-Man 3 had just 2 movies they could draw on, right? So, yeah, maybe I think time. And also, a multiverse movie in 2006 or whatever
Would not have made
would
it.
not have been good. It wouldn't have made sense. And like people would have been
Would have
like,
been too messy.
how can there be 2 Spider-Man? And it's just like,
That's what I was going to ask earlier. It was like when you were watching it, did you have a moment where you're like, holy shit, this is happening? Yeah.
Alan, how many times did I turn to you and just go, they're actually doing it?
Oh, many times.
Like I said that at least 6 times. I was like, they're actually doing it. Like I was so sure that they weren't going to be in it because it just doesn't. It just seems like something that they. Yeah. Sony and Disney would have to play so nicely, and they never do. But apparently they do.
I think already from when he's on the bridge in traffic, and then we see Doc Ock arise for the first time. That was the moment where like, fuck, like that already. That crossover, getting Alfred Molina, is insane.
Yeah.
And that opened up like just so many possibilities. And then we see Goblin next, and then we see like all of these other villains come.
The introduction of Goblin is the best. Just like
to see the grenade.
his laugh and then the grenade, and you're just like, everyone in our theater was just like, oh fuck,
It's happening.
And we've all seen that. That's in the trailer.
Yeah.
We've all seen that. But just seeing that in IMAX and the big screen with the chairs fucking shaking.
And then even with Doc Ock saying like, I know Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He died, so whether that was actually Norman or you saw a ghost.
I'm afraid to say this, but that's a really good Alfred Molina.
Thank you.
I don't know if you'll ever get another one again, but that was a really
I'll
good.
stop there.
It was really good
I will
Alfred
stop
Molina.
there.
There you
That's
go.
it.
If I was a rich man.
Oh man.
No, it's great. They did a really good job. Amy Pascal can kind of take a step back from the Spider-Man movies, though. I'm not too big of a fan of her anymore.
She has too much control right now.
She's just too cuckoo bananas, bro.
Well, I just hope with the next. I'm happy.
Just
I'm
give it to
happy
Kevin
with
Feige.
this at least.
Give everything to Kevin Feige.
Well, Feige's killing it. Yeah.
Give DC to Kevin Feige. You know what I mean?
DC needs help,
shit.
man. Even Star Wars is even like up and down. Like there's a good one and there's a bad one and there's a good one and there's a bad
J.J.
one.
Abrams can't finish.
It's
He doesn't know how to close things.
No, can't
Did
find
you
a
see
proper
the end of
dismount.
Lost?
No, I didn't even want to get into that. Damn, dude. I wish Rhino was in this. Am I the only person?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I wish Jason Momoa's Kraven was in it.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Oh.
Because wasn't there a rumor for a little bit that he was going to be...
He would be a perfect Craven.
Kraven kills Spider-Man and takes over as Spider-Man for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
That's that storyline?
And then Spider-Man like digs his way out of the grave and then beats the
What?
shit out of Kraven.
Whoa.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Dude,
insane.
Spider-Man in the 90s, like the comic books of Spider-Man in the 90s were some of the first books I ever read because the Benicia Public Library had every single fucking issue from like
Oh,
Spider-Man
yeah.
in the 90s. And so I remember even reading being like, this doesn't seem like Tobey Maguire. I don't even know who any of these people were. But it was all just like Peter like breaking up with Betty Bryan, or Peter just like going through a divorce, or just like Peter not like having a good time. It's like, oh yeah, no wonder everybody likes Spider-Man because he actually goes through real problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether you're a teenager or an adult or, you know, a old man.
That's what was cool to see with all the Peters meeting is because Tom Holland, I think, is still engraved in our minds as like this very young kid, right? Like even when he's talking to Doctor Strange makes it a point to say, man, sometimes I forget you're just a kid because he's young. He's still in high school, right?
Yeah.
And then we get to see Andrew Garfield, this cooler, like mid-20s type of Peter Parker.
Postgraduate.
Yeah, postgraduate. And then we get to see the jaded, more mature Tobey Maguire.
Did you guys ever read I think it's Spider-Man Through the Ages? It was like a run that they did. It was 4 issues or 5 issues of Spider-Man, and it was specifically like Spider-Man in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And they like go through his whole life. And at one point, Peter Parker does stop being Spider-Man. He moves to like Oregon and lives with Mary Jane and his 2 kids, and is just like, I'm not Spider-Man anymore. Like I'm retired. And one of his clones, the Ben Parker clone, who was Scarlet Spider, who's Spider-Man in New. Again, this is where it's a fucking web of asshole. The Ben Parker Scarlet Spider-Man dies, and everyone's like, Spider-Man's dead. And so Peter Parker goes to New York. Then he goes to New York on like 9/11, and he's cleaning up the rubble, and he's like old and fat, and it's just like I like the idea of superheroes aging out. You don't see that very often.
Do you think it would have been cool to have, you know, after Andrew and Toby disappear, if we saw them back in their worlds, kind of like, you know, Toby with Mary Jane for a quick second and then Andrew like in the city, like, do you think that would have been too much for the movie? Or because I kind of wish that's what we got, like there was like a dope ass monologue at the end, and then we saw
Like some closure.
Yeah.
And then, like,
characters.
where in the timeline are they spat back into their universe? Like, what if Andrew Garfield is spat back into his universe and then he sees Gwen? Because, like, the
Or what if
multiverse.
he's like at the bottom of the thing and he's just watching Gwen?
No. Wait. What if he is spat back and it was, like, right when Gwen is falling? And he's like, I'm going to get her this time.
And then like,
He actually saves her.
but
What
then
if
the
it
other
was, like,
Spider-Man
right before
lands
that?
and he's like, wait a minute, what? And then it's like, then Andrew Garfield was Andrew Garfield. I don't know. Honestly, you know why? You know why I'm kind of glad they didn't? Because these kind of questions would be the only things like left. You know what I mean? Be like,
Yeah.
but no, we saw Gwen die. And like, I don't know, man. I kind of like
But
the
these
way that
questions are fun.
They are. My question is, Andrew Garfield makes a quick reference to the fact of like, I don't know, I just like woke up and I was in this different New York. And then it's like, what was him and Toby doing when they got sent to that New York and like just didn't?
Well, supposedly, when the villains were sent, it was right before their deaths in the movies that we see, right? So, like, Goblin was sent, Norman was sent right before.
But Electro doesn't die.
It was like when he gets overloaded. He says, I got overloaded and then I blacked out and now I'm here with this clean ass fade.
Oh, that's true. And he is the only one who doesn't know who Spider-Man is. And they even said, they're like, we all know who Spider-Man is. And he's like, I don't know who he is.
Who, Electro? Wait, no, he knows. He definitely. Max.
He didn't know who
doesn't-
Peter was.
Yeah, he
Oh,
doesn't.
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
It's not until when Andrew Garfield takes his mask off, that's when he's like, huh, thought you would be black.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
right.
that's a great
right.
Jamie Foxx, by the way. I know you guys are thinking Jamie Foxx is here.
It's either a great Jamie Foxx or a great Gandalf.
I was thinking Doc Brown, maybe. Huh, Marty, get to the DeLorean.
Man, I thought you were going to be black, man.
Just like the oldest man in Queens.
What do you guys
said
think?
Gandalf.
But he meant James Gandolfini.
No, I meant Gandalf the motherfucking gray.
Or the white.
What do you guys think now that like the villains are like cured and they go back to their timeline? Like, do you think?
I think people don't change. They're going to go back to the timeline and like, well, now I know how to solve this problem.
Wait, so, okay. It's going to suck if they get sent back to their timeline and still die.
Yeah.
Just like, yes, I learned my lesson. And then just be eaten by the sun. Or like, yes, I learned my lesson. And then the glider comes and cuts you in half.
Yes, I learned my lesson. And then Electro is just like,
Give both of those now.
I just love the fact that you can be bit by an animal and that becomes your superhero.
Dude,
I would like to be like,
I love
Pigeon
the
Man.
scene. So into a vat of electric pigeons.
I got bit by a pigeon while I was skydiving.
Literally, wait.
Literally, Chris, do you think any of those things that I just said actually happened?
No, you didn't let me finish. I didn't. When you put in the skydiving part, I knew it was fake. But if you were to just tell me out of nowhere, like, dude, I got bit by a pigeon, I'll be like, that makes sense, man.
I would be like, you should get a rabies test. I don't know if pigeons can carry rabies, but they seem like the one bird that would carry rabies.
Or just straight up see what happens. You might turn into pigeon man, which honestly, that
that's
just means
super-
you're homeless.
I was gonna say, I think that the hero's called Angel from the X-Men.
Oh man.
So good.
I know we're bouncing around everywhere, but can we talk about Aunt May?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
her
man.
that scene, that death scene.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Michael Giacchino, the composer for that.
Yeah.
Dude, that music really got me.
Way better than his music he did for Up.
No, Up is really
Up
good.
is really good,
too.
man.
We're not trying to cry again.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Let's
Yo.
talk about that.
Okay, so that whole scene leading up to there, they fuck up the complex, right? Just breaking through all the floors of the complex.
Some of those tombstones and like the pile drivers that they were doing, dude, they had some intense fighting in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
It was Marissa Tomei, Aunt May just standing there, and then the glider comes and just T-bones her in her side.
Nice.
Was just... I'm trying to be
on, man.
emotional right now. Don't be a dick.
on, man.
She just died 2 days ago, okay? It's real recent. But like after that, I was like, she's gonna be okay, right?
Well, the way she got up too, she was just like, yeah. But
Yeah,
you can
I'm
tell
fine.
it was like shock. Like she was just like,
I just need to catch my breath.
yeah.
And then like that's not even it. When Goblin left, he left the bomb. And that blew up, and like I think she got a little more hurt from that.
Yeah.
Well, she wanted to be cremated, so.
Norman was like, okay, gotcha.
I do think that acting that Marissa Tomei did makes her finally deserve that Oscar that she stole from it's just what I think. When she won the Oscar for My Cousin Vinny, guys, is this like a really niche
Oh, that's
70s
way
joke?
back. Yeah, that's pretty back then.
The dude was too drunk and like couldn't read the name, so he's like, "That's a fucking My Cousin Vinny," and then Marissa Tomei won, and they're like, "She sucks," but she doesn't. She's great.
Yeah,
This
she killed it.
Well, every Aunt May has like such a good moment in all these Spider-Man movies, right? And so this was finally her moment, right? Yeah. Because she gets up and she's like, "Yeah, let's just go." And she was like, "Wait, I just to catch your breath. I just gotta catch my breath."
Her speech, her
Yeah.
great power comes great responsibility speech is maybe the best one.
Yeah. It hit differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you watched it in the theater that you watched it in, did the audience react when she said that? The
Yeah.
words of death.
Oh, yeah. And I
words
think
of death?
it was like a.
Yeah, with great power, like because
Whoa,
Uncle.
but you called it the words of death, though. That is like what they say right before they die.
Yeah, I mean that's what Alan and John told me, right?
That's
Uncle
what they
Ben
say, man.
says
Yeah.
that every time before he dies in every movie or comic that you read, right? She says that, and that's like, okay, then they're sealing her fate.
But in the movies, though, like they say it when like
Which movie?
the first one, it was like in the car, right?
Yeah, before he's like, "Oh, I'm going to the library," but he's actually going
What
wrestling.
was the second one? Was he like? I don't remember.
I don't think they say it in the Garfield. I think like they made a point to be like, "We're not gonna say that line," but it's like,
Or-
I think it's possible. I don't know. I would have to look back into it.
Or if they did say it, it was probably just like kind of like quick.
Quick and subtle. But here, I think they made her say it with the intent for the audience knowing that those words mean you're gonna die.
Right.
You're done. And I didn't think they were gonna kill her off because Aunt May never dies, right?
Yeah.
well, she
Maybe
dies-
in the comics.
she dies quite a few times, but no, we've never seen her die.
Yeah, and especially like if it's Marissa Tomei, who's like young, and they really did a different take with Aunt May with this one. I thought she was gonna like prevail and like live on with Happy.
But then it would have been so confusing. I was talking to a buddy about it. If everyone forgot Peter, how is she gonna forget her nephew? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it kind of like makes sense why they were like.
Two things. One, I just remembered that Michael Sheen was Ben Parker in the Andrew Garfield movie.
Nice.
And he does say the line. There is a whole scene where he says it. And then I just watched a deleted scene from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 where fucking his dad comes back.
yeah.
Have you seen that deleted
I have,
scene?
yeah.
So he's still alive.
His dad comes back and like meets him in the graveyard. He's like, "Who are you?" Like he has this like fight, but man, that just means that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is like gets the worst rap.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's not just abandoned by his parents, but he's told that they died. And then he
they're
loses
still
everybody.
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Loses Gwen, loses Ben.
No, stop. Whenever you say Gwen, I get so emotional. Such a
Gwen, that was the name of your first girlfriend, wasn't it?
so I'm getting more emotional. Dude. Okay, what were the moments where everyone cried? Obviously, the Gwen moment, or not the Gwen moment, but when he saves MJ.
And then when Peter's like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" to Aunt May, like getting.
Yeah, that was the part I.
But do you
Wait,
think
what part? When
She's dying.
because her eyes were open the whole time. He's like, "Why are you like?" Did you know when in Infinity War when he said, "Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good." What hit more hard to you guys? Aunt May's like goodbye or the I don't feel so good?
Endgame, I was weeping throughout most of the third act. Like, just openly weeping. And this one, I only kind of got a little teary-eyed. So, I guess by that statistic, I would have to say.
How about these three? So, like...
Schindler's List. Sophie's Choice. Or Spider-Man No Way Home.
Fox and the Hound. And
I picked Sophie's Choice and Schindler's List and yours is Fox and the Hound.
that one hurts my soul. And, Tony Stark's death. Tom Holland disappearing at the end of Infinity War. Or...
Chadwick Boseman's death.
Or... Oh, man. Oh.
Oh, that's the line, guys?
It'd be Chadwick.
That's... Yeah, because that's super real.
That's real.
R.I.P. King.
But or Aunt May's death in this one. I had to look at Melissa in the middle of the movie, and she was like, "Are you crying?" I was like, "No."
I feel like
crying.
I feel like the I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark, got me because it felt so.
There's a quiver in his voice.
Yeah,
that's really like.
It's like a kid. Like he was so scared. He's like, I don't want to go. I don't know what's going on.
And if I remember correctly, at that time we still hadn't been introduced to like a spider sense, and so
Yeah.
I think that's the first time in the MCU that Tom Holland Spider-Man like senses something's going
Oh,
wrong.
yeah, he was like, "I don't feel." Yeah. Oh shit, that's his.
Because he takes
Spidey
he takes the longest to disappear because he's like fighting it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, man.
We've all blown everybody's mind at least 3 times in this single episode.
Tom Holland's acting in. Okay, well, that was improvised. You know that when
Was
he
it
was
really?
disappearing. Yeah, that
Oh,
was completely
shit.
I don't
improvised.
feel so good. Yeah.
Which is so good. That was not written at all.
That's crazy.
And then with Mr. Stark's death, that one got me. I was like
Yeah.
crying like
the
crazy.
end of an era. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why. It's because
Yeah.
I had watched all the Avengers right before that. And then this one, dude.
Okay, just because you brought up the Avengers, one of the best lines is when Peter's like, "Hey guys, I've worked on a team before. I worked with the Avengers."
Oh, yeah.
Tobey Maguire's like, "That's awesome. That's great. Can you call them?"
No, Tobey Maguire's like, "No, that's great. Who are they?"
Who is he?
that?
Yeah, that's awesome. Who
And then
is he?
Andrew Garfield was like, "The Avengers. Is that a band? Were you in a band?"
Yeah.
Oh, so good. The
Their
little
banter.
clips. Tobey Maguire's best clips are in this movie, actually.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. Was he? Why did he get stabbed?
Because I think they wanted Toby to die at the end of it so he doesn't have to reprise the character anymore. But then Sony and Disney were like, we can't do that. We need him for another $3 million. So they brought him back. Guys, I do like his line of, "Oh, I've been stabbed before."
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
And then like Andrew Garfield is like holding him, and he's like, "You're in a lot of pain right now, right?" It's like, yeah.
I am.
Hey, you know what I like though about the Spider-Mans? They didn't try to like one up each other. You know.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about like their views and stuff when they're like up top high,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like, he was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool.
When's
That
the
is a
Chrysler
nice
Building?
view."
Yeah.
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 Like
It's a
it's
better
not. They weren't trying to like compete or anything.
It's almost
so.
like they're one undering each other. Right? It's like someone says something and they're like, "I did something just a little bit lamer than that." And they're like, No, I did something a little bit lamer than that. And then they're like, "No, we're all pretty cool because we're Spider-Man."
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
it's
they're
like,
all kind of
They're just like
self-deprecating.
brothers.
Well,
man.
that's why I liked how we were talking earlier about how like Toby was like really like gassing up Andrew Spider-Man, and it was just like, "You're amazing, you know that, right?" Like
You're a Spider-Man.
amazing.
yeah.
You're amazing.
It was
Supportive,
that was really cool.
Well, they say amazing a lot in the Andrew Garfield films. We've talked about that in the one we saw. They say
Yeah.
amazing like 30 times. And then in the Tobey Maguire ones, they don't say the word amazing ever. Like
No.
they just say marvelous and fantastic. Like they say everything but that.
Which brings me to the point that you brought up earlier. They never say the movie titles for this movie. No one says, "Yeah, man, I guess there is no way home."
No, but they do go, "Hey, look it. Is that Spider-Man 2?
You really mean as well?
Damn it, yes. I knew. My syntax is bad. I just learned this language.
Shit is but I think that would have been too cheesy.
Yeah.
All of the fan service, the rest of the fan service solid.
It was on the nose, don't get me wrong, but it was not over the top or bad or like too winky of like, there were some things in Endgame that I felt like were like, this is for everybody who's been with us for 10 years. And it's like,
I thought when Ned was like, I promise I won't backstab you. You know, when he brought up to the
next movie, bro.
You think?
I mean, why else would they say that? It's what is it? Chekhov's gun. You can't introduce something in a movie without having it pay off in the end.
That's true.
I don't know if I could take Jacob Batalon seriously as a villain, though.
I will if he keeps getting cut.
He kind of looks
He lost
like
102 pounds before this movie started.
I know he's starting to look. He looks
wow,
like
that's awesome.
He looks a little sickly.
he looks like Diglett. You know?
Yes, it's the bald head isn't doing him any good. Do you think that's what you would look like if you were bald?
Yeah.
The same amount of shiny is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. I think we have different faces. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm talking about the same type of shiny.
I think I look more like Samuel L. Jackson in Capital One commercials.
That's
That's very specific.
yeah.
I
That's,
know.
and also,
Because I have
hate to do
glasses.
this to you, but no, you will
think
never
so?
look like Samuel L. Jackson.
Kinda.
I think you would look more like Diglett.
All right, guys. What else? Okay, Alan, you have a bunch of notes there. What can we tackle from your notes that we haven't hit yet?
Strange versus Spider-Man. Spider-Man 1, dude.
Shit.
That whole mirror dimension.
Yeah, he's the only person
man.
who's like not magical who could, but he figured it out through geometry,
yeah.
right?
That was
like-
sacred geometry.
Hey, you know what's cooler than magic?
math, and to which everybody groaned, and then every math teacher was like, "Yeah."
He said he was hovering over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours.
12 hours. I think that was kind of calling back to like Loki because he's always falling
For
for like
12
hours. Yeah.
I do like that they're like, yeah, Doctor Strange is in this movie, and then about 20 minutes in, they're just like, we're just gonna put him like back in the toy box while we play with these toys. And it's just like, all right, yeah, I mean that's cool too.
Well, Doctor Strange is such a great character to have in the MCU because it's because of his magic that all possibilities are there, right? They're like that the multiverse is possible.
Where is the time stone? Because doesn't he say I don't have the time stone anymore?
I thought it got destroyed. Didn't it?
No,
Oh,
it
no.
Captain
Didn't
America brought
Captain-
it back
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
timeline. So
you're
why
right,
doesn't he
right.
have the time stone anymore?
Maybe Captain America has it.
No, because Wong is the.
Oh, he holds it?
I think isn't that what they say?
He's
Like
a Sorcerer Supreme.
Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme right now because he had disappeared for so
Yeah,
long.
yeah, yeah.
And it's the Sorcerer Supreme's job. I don't know. I guess right. I mean,
I don't know,
And,
man.
and the other thing is,
they'll retcon it later.
is Wong going to like the Shang-Chi movie? That's where he's going.
I wouldn't be surprised.
See, this is where I'm getting so confused with like the timelines.
I want
right
to
now.
watch
like,
it again because if you
Yeah.
could see the portal, obviously you could study where he's going,
yeah,
right? There's
yeah.
something in the background. I want to see screenshots of the portals in which they're coming, in which they're going to, and I want to see screenshots of like the rift that's opening up, right? So we could actually get a good look at what possible villains they're thinking of introducing into the MCU.
Or not. That might be like they'll be like, we've already done that, and it's just like, damn it,
That's all you
give me Craven.
I don't know. All right, what else? What else can we talk
Sorry,
about?
I was like, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Scorpion. Like we've never seen Scorpion in live action.
Scorpion's solid. I like Scorpion.
And I did read in the Tobey Maguire ones they were trying to get John Malkovich as Vulture.
Interesting.
For a minute there, they were trying to get him to play the Vulture.
I could see that.
That would be good.
I'm down for John Malkovich.
Better than Michael Keaton.
anything.
Michael Keaton's Vulture was just Batman, right? Or am I the only one who saw that?
I think just you. I didn't think that.
I thought his Vulture was like just Batman for the most part. Like, oh, this is Bruce Wayne if his parents didn't die.
Well, now I want to watch
Moves the Queen, has a
Homecoming
kid.
again.
I'll take it Homecoming.
Thank you.
Did we talk about the lab scene where they're like all working on stuff?
Oh, that
That is a great. Anytime the
That's
three
cool.
Spider-Man
They
are
did the
working
meme,
together.
kind of.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what
pointing at each
happened.
other. Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny when
Yeah.
Ned is like, Peter. They're like, yeah, which
No,
one? Peter.
Parker.
Parker.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Still all of us. Still.
Like that was just beautifully orchestrated.
That must have been the
was.
most fun scene to film,
yeah.
right? Especially for Tom.
Yeah, to just see these people that he's grown up with.
And how great does Toby feel? Like, coming onto that set, everybody was like, it's the return of the king. Here he is.
That must have been crazy.
Dude, he must have been, his head's got to be twice as big now.
It has to. Oh well, he's been behind the scenes for so long because he hasn't acted in a while. He's been just producing stuff.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, so he's not working. He's
I'm not
producing more. So
I'm not trying to be a dick, but what has he produced?
I don't know. I didn't.
Okay,
do
I don't
intensive
know either.
research,
But that's because I think the last thing I saw Tobey Maguire in was Spider-Man 3.
yeah. Ooh, I can't remember.
Great Gatsby.
Great
That's
Gatsby.
what it was.
Because he plays an actually gay Nick Carraway. Yeah, that's right. He does it right.
Oh, which is like the whole.
He does
if
it
you
right.
study the book, they make you think that. Make you think that.
Also, the golfer girl's gay too in that book.
You know, actually, I've done some research. Yeah, they say that too.
Yeah.
They say she's like, when they talk about her features and whatnot, they say she's masculine and whatnot.
F. Scott Fitzgerald, huge homo.
All right, Alan, what else do we got?
I think that's it, man.
We tackled
I think
a lot of
covered
it?
quite a bit. Yeah.
Did we get all of your favorite lines from this movie? Nacho.
I wish, dude. Chris, anything?
I'm trying to think. It was.
Can they do this again now? Like, this means when they do an X-Men film, they can't have Patrick Stewart show up and like do this. Like, now the X-Men are meeting each other again, because then it'll be kind of hack, right? Do you think they'll be ever to do it again?
If they introduce the X-Men, it's going to be a completely new cast.
Of course, it has to be. It has, but that cast can't meet. You know what I'm saying? Like, there can't ever be a movie where they meet.
I feel like with this, I hope with this new X-Men, they get actors that are kind of low, like
not famous people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when they got Hugh Jackman to be Wolverine, he wasn't famous.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think in the first one, none of those people were all that famous, except for Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen.
Well, because the franchise will be successful because it's X-Men.
And it's Disney and it's
so it's just find the right actors. So, but
they should just go super underground. Get all unheard of actors, because the X-Men are supposed to be, you know, teens and left out people.
Right.
And,
How do you guys feel about Marvel Studios, or just like these studios that are backing superhero franchises now, taking lesser known heroes and giving them the spotlight? Because Shang-Chi obviously exists in the comics, but no one knew of Shang-Chi. Mm-hmm. But they brought him, they gave him a movie.
And they did, like, in Iron Fist, Iron Fist learned his powers from Shang-Chi's dad.
Ah, yes.
Right? Am I missing something? I think that's pretty much how because he's supposed to be in the next one, in the next Shang-Chi.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good, right? I think what happened was they hit such a home run with Guardians of the Galaxy that they're like, oh, we could do this all the time. And then like the whole woke culture.
Guardians is like low key.
And then like woke culture came out and like, oh yeah, we got to bring in more Asians and more. Yeah, we just got to bring them all in. It's just like, you guys should have done this like 10 years ago.
Long time ago.
I'll take it. I'll watch it still. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they got me wrapped around their fucking balls, that Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Everyone. I mean, what I'm appreciative about these movies is that I could have talks with people that 10, 20 years ago were not into nerd culture at all. Like, this is making nerd culture palatable for anyone that has never watched previous superhero movies, has read any comics, played any of the video games, all that stuff. You could talk to anyone. It's like part of just pop culture now. And it's a beautiful thing, because now there's community where like able to talk. Like, this makes me so happy, because I've been waiting for 2 whole days to talk about it, but I can't talk about it with anyone. And like, now we finally talk. I don't know. It's like fucking awesome. This is so satisfying, man.
Yes. I was talking to Chris, my buddy.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror.
Yeah. I was like, it's gonna sound morbid, but we were in the car and I was like, man, I've been waiting for this movie so long, to where like I was like, I hope I make it to see this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it was gonna go the other way. I thought you were gonna be like, now that I've seen it, we can just like die now, right? Just crash the car, because it's not gonna get better than this.
no, it's just because this is 20 years ago. It's been like Tobey Maguire. Like, I remember being in the theater watching this and being like, holy shit. And then to be in the theater, I think it was like the first time where like I cried at a movie out of joy and sadness. Like, seeing them 3 together, I was like emotional. It was weird.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I think growing up as a kid, the one like big tentpole comic book thing that I always wanted to see was like the death and the return of Superman, right? Which we do see in not the exact way that I wanted to see it. This just scratches all of my child itches. Like, everything that I ever would have wanted as a kid, it gets it there. I mean, they do a Goodfellas reference. They have, Tobey Maguire just being a fucking awesome guy. They got Andrew Garfield being a fucking pimp. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
How do you think Stan Lee would feel if he had watched this?
Spinning in his grave. He's pissed.
I was hoping we would get some sort of like Stan Lee, like something in
Like
this
a poster of him.
There was
something.
Ditko callbacks.
Was there?
Oh, and there was a Stanley callback. I read it online. When he's in the taxi changing, the license plate is like 12/2/28, which I think was Stan Lee's birthday or something like that.
Okay, so very small.
Very
thing.
small. And then
Something
and then the Ditko ones, there was like Ditko was graffitied on the wall.
Cool. Oh,
2
that's
times
sick.
behind him.
That's cool.
But like, yeah, they could have. Yeah, I mean, they should have just put Sam Raimi in the background.
Somewhere.
Yeah,
Sam Raimi.
or John Webb. Just like put them,
Put them around.
because nobody will know who they are. They could be like just getting a cup of coffee and be like,
Right.
Yeah, but obviously they contributed to a large portion of creating.
I heard they were on
Spider-Man.
set for a lot of it.
Good.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Good, man. I don't know. Think about like all the older generation where they grew up with Spider-Man during the comics. Like people that are in their 70s or something like how
Yeah.
long has Spider-Man existed?
I think 63 was when he came out.
So imagine like kids that like actually like bought the comics at like 1963 and being able to live long enough, like they're probably 70 years old in a movie theater seeing all of this.
Yeah.
I would say, let's say they're 13, right? They're born in 1950. 13 years old is about the age where you'd be reading Spider-Man.
Yeah, 70 years old, right? Some old people in the
crazy.
theater just like being able to see this franchise evolve.
Right.
I'm Peter Parker.
1962.
Oh.
You're
Damn.
close. You're
Close,
close, man.
dude.
Yeah, but the first issue wasn't published until... No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely phenomenal. I don't think I have any more to say.
Do you want to rate it?
I'm gonna.
Oh.
Now, remember, the last film that we did a review on, you rated 10 out of 5.
Holy hell.
I'll give this a 10 out of 5.
What movie was it?
Nacho Libre?
Oh, 10 out
This
of
is a
5.
pretty... I think the 98% from Google is a far more accurate representation than the 74 from Metacritic. I think anything less than mid to high 80s is an injustice to this film. But, you know, I'm not... It is on the nose and is very cheeky. If you're not part of, you know, the culture, you may not understand everything.
But if you're this far, like if you're watching the third Spider-Man movie, at that point you've watched the rest of the Spider-Man.
That's
movies.
great. That's a good point that you brought up. Karen, you just watched this movie. Have you watched all the Spider-Man movies?
I think so.
Which
no,
one
well,
do
on
you-
the way in, she said no because she couldn't remember the Tom Hollands.
There was only 2 of the
Garfields.
Yeah.
I think that I've seen both of those for sure because I love him.
He's
I
great.
probably did not see all 3 of the first ones.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping for a yes or no answer because she's not on mic, so none of that's going to come through. But
We'll hear it.
Yeah.
Wait,
but no, but they do a good job for everybody. Just like Endgame let people who've never seen any of them feel like they're in on the joke on some of the jokes. And then, like you said, there's very subtle things where people, you know, level 6, level 7, level 8 jokes.
yeah,
Just-
that you can still get. Or that,
Scripture.
that I have nothing else to say. You guys got anything else?
No.
10 out of 10. Best person on set was Tom Holland.
Yeah. Tom Holland for sure.
Some of his best acting. The raining scene after Aunt May dies.
That was
When he's watching the
badass.
newscast. Yeah.
I also love that Jay Jonah is now Alex Jones. Right? Like, he's just like an Alex Jones character
Oh,
doing
the
like
way he's acting, yeah.
conspiracy
Yeah,
theories and
you're
stuff.
right.
And like,
Very angry.
"Yes, buy my pills.
That's right. He's just like completely sold himself out. Yeah. Best person on set for you guys?
I'd say Tom and Andrew. Andrew, I thought he
It's got to
brought...
be all 3 of the Spider-Man.
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty solid, dude. Well, okay. Obviously, Tom, because it's his movie,
yeah,
and
Tom.
he was given
I
that
fe-
moment.
I felt like Andrew was way more excited to get back in the
Hell
suit
yeah.
Hell yeah,
than
Any of
than-
them.
Yeah.
Like, more than Tom was. And Tom's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like in this suit all the time. And Andrew Garfield's like, I haven't touched this
Yeah.
in years.
Well, it's because he didn't get enough love, and like he deserved more.
I hope he sees how much love he's getting right now. Like,
Did you read? One of the things that I read online is one of the reasons why he didn't get a third film was because that was right at the time when Disney was starting to do Avengers, and they wanted to have Andrew Garfield Spider-Man as in the first Avengers movie. But Sony didn't want to make a third film with Andrew Garfield because he didn't show up to like a press conference because he was sick. And Sony took it as like a slight as him not wanting to be Spider-Man anymore. So Sony was like, we actually don't want him to be our Spider-Man anymore. And that's why when Disney came back and was like, well, we want to write a new one. They're like, yeah, make a new Spider-Man.
Jesus.
jeez.
Motherfucker.
Sony sucks, dude. You remember a couple years ago when the interview came out and Korea hacked Sony's emails and all that shit came out when they're just like, oh yeah, they like hate everybody.
Yeah.
Sony's not a good production company, but they make great headphones.
And great cameras, dude.
Sony, send us a check. Send us a check.
Please.
Honestly, we are dying here.
Okay, would Andrew Garfield get the best person on set if they didn't have Tom Holland's crying scene?
No, I wouldn't. No, I think it's.
I was gonna say yes,
I'm
but
still thinking about Willem Dafoe, man.
I
He's
was-
so fucking good.
honestly,
No. It's because Andrew. He's
Yeah.
only in like very small amount of time.
I would give
He's-
it to-
He's more than I thought it was going to be.
It
but,
would go
yeah.
Tom, Willem Dafoe, and then Andrew.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
I
I would
gotta
even
do it,
say
man.
Tom, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, then Andrew. I really think no
Yeah,
one here is
yeah.
giving Alfred Molina enough credit for
Yeah.
what he
Alfred
is.
Molina, when he gets that chip put into him so that he feels better, is just so heartwarming. You
The
know, because he
transformation,
became
yeah.
a good person again. And for him to be able to talk to Tobey Maguire at the end of the movie and recognize him as as
His student.
Otto,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and as his student, as opposed to a villain to his arch nemesis.
I was just thinking about the Spider-Man 2 fight scene that they have, like in the bank when Dr. Octopus is like throwing bags of
was
gold
cool.
coins at
Oh,
him,
yeah.
and then they're like crawling up the. That's one of the
That's
best.
so
That was
good,
cool.
man.
That's a really
That's
good
so
fight.
good.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite like hero
Yeah,
films.
for sure.
It's so
What was
good.
that noise?
I don't know.
Make a give of that, Christian.
I'm sounding-
Woogie, woogie, woogie.
Stop.
Okay,
That's not
sorry.
my saying. Willem Dafoe with the switch up. Fantastic acting
So
chops.
good. So if Willem Dafoe wasn't in it, I think Alfred Molina would be the best villain.
Yeah. But
For
like
sure.
And Jamie Foxx is the funnest villain, I guess.
yeah, he's just the coolest.
He is kind of like the
He is
coolest.
cool.
I do like that he has the arc reactor, and he's just like, I can just. The little bit of the arc reactor when Dr. Otto Octavius gets it, and he's like, like this is the power of the sun in his hand. Like he couldn't control that technology, but Tony did it in a fucking cave in the middle of, you know what I mean, in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
so he was able to create a full power source. You know what I mean? So
Right
it's
there and
it's,
then.
it's really interesting how like
So he took that back with him. He's like, "Oh, I'm taking this shit. Like, I'm dipping."
puts it in like one of his long arms, sticks it in his
But
pocket.
maybe he's gonna do something good with it, because like he's back to who he was.
like
yeah, I'm
bang
hoping
Aunt
so.
May.
What? Like in his universe? She's an old lady in his universe, man.
In the comics, Aunt May looks just like that.
Oh, you're right. You're right, man. You're right. Okay. Damn, dude. Yeah.
We've all been really good. We've all been really nice. Can you guys say just one bad thing about the film?
No, that's slander, man.
Nah, man.
It wasn't.
That's slander, man.
It wasn't long enough. I could have gone. I could have gone.
Yeah.
If I had a
more
nickel every time I heard that.
You're stupid.
Yeah, I could still be watching it right now 2 days later if
Yeah.
it was a 50-hour film.
If this was a 4-hour like Justice League thing, you know what I mean? That would be cool. I would have been really upset if this movie
Yeah.
was like a 2-hour movie and they cut out all the Tobey Maguire stuff, and then there was
Yeah.
a whole like they were like, they were in it, but nobody got to see it. That would have been a really interesting cut of a 4-hour Spider-Man film where they just like take their time in every scene. Did not really like the whole thing where they kind of equated him going to school as like when the first black people went to school in like the South and stuff like that, with everyone booing, and like I was like, that's kind of a little bit too much.
Well, I don't think they were like taking it. I don't think they were purposefully equating it. He was just like
looked almost exactly the same like those footage.
he just had notoriety to him. Well, then because also the principal and the two teachers or whatever.
Oh,
Who's the
that
PE?
dude's name?
The PE teacher.
Yeah.
Hannibal Buress.
Yeah,
Hannibal
yeah,
Buress.
yeah.
Was that actually Hannibal Buress? Because that did
Yeah.
not look like him.
Lost weight.
People need to keep the fat on their fucking bodies.
Jesus.
Whoa, dude. That's the worst sentence you could say in this day and age.
Body positivity.
Adele,
Be yourself.
she could lose weight.
Nope. Get fat again.
Nope. Billie Eilish,
Get
girl,
fat
you
again.
can wear what you want.
No. Everybody should be a perfect circle. Has nobody seen Wall-E?
I've seen Wall-E, and that was horrible. They
This is
tipped
where
the
we're going.
spaceship. then seeing them-
Because the robot turned the wheel.
Yeah, but did you see how scary it was to
We'll
see
fight about this after this. We'll fight about this after the
30,000
episode.
fat people falling? Okay,
We're going to finish this fight later because
later. All right,
we're
guys.
losing it.
Fucking fantastic. I love this movie so much.
Same.
What is the next movie we're excited for in the Marvel Universe now? I think the next one I'm really excited for is going to be the Fantastic Four, because John Watts is directing Fantastic Four right now.
Is he really?
Yep.
Oh, that's gonna be sick.
They better not fuck it up, dude.
Yeah, just don't put Miles Teller in it.
Miles Teller's cool, but that movie was boring.
You're right. Don't put Michael B. Jordan in it.
No, Michael B. Jordan's cool. They just fucked up with the movie.
Jessica Alba?
Jessica Alba's, she's all right. I don't know.
Don't put Chris Evans in the movie.
No, he's cool too.
The Shield? I think his
What?
name's actually Michael Chitlis.
Yeah, I think that's That's
Are these
a
too
whole
much?
other-
Am I going too? Yeah, I'm too
Yeah,
far. Yeah.
we're getting too deep now.
I
right.
make mistakes. My name's Ben Alejandro.
My name's Christian.
You can follow us at ICBTB Podcast.
And you can follow me at Christian Has Asthma. Call_me Jesus. Guys, where can they find you?
Alan Cebu Instagram.
And then at the Creative Chip.
Oh, by the way, Creative Chip, that Cyclops photo you put up.
Thank you, man.
Oh,
Fucking
I appreciate y'all.
love it, dude. You are doing some crazy cool things with these toys.
Yeah.
I've been looking at that Colossus. I need to talk to you after.
Yeah, you can buy it for $50. I'll sell it to you right now.
It's not yours.
Oh, I was going to share it with you.
What? Oh, you would take 30 and I'd get 20?
Okay.
Man, fuck you, dude.
I was going to go 25-25, but
All
sure.
right, baddies, we out of here. We'll
Check-
see you. What?
I was going to say, check out our store. We got shirts and, start the new year fresh.
Yeah.
Start the new year fresh to death. And also, baby clothes will be out in 2022, so keep an eye out for that.
That'd be dope to have.
I was gonna
Okay.
As soon as one person, yeah, no, actually, never mind. We're not doing baby clothes.
All right, bye.
Goodbye, Spider-Man.
Be that bad,